Welcome to Monday, the 29th of November, 2021. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Chugwater Chili. Go to chugwaterchili.com and hurry up and take advantage of some great holiday discounts. Today's the last day to take advantage of holiday discount number 4, 20% off of Chugwater Chili products. All of those seasonings you see on the screen there are just absolutely delicious. A great opportunity to get those spices at a great price. Go to chugwaterchili.com. Boredom. That's right. If you're a weather forecaster, if you're a skier, if you're an ice fisherman, if you like snow, if you like winter, you're just bored to tears. I know I am right now. And this all due to a very fast-moving Pacific jet stream wind, which is typical in a La Nina pattern. So we've got windy and mild weather coming all week. There's only one little system that'll bring a few rain and snow showers to parts of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming tonight and early Tuesday. We'll show you where, but that's it for the whole week. And including the weekend, there's just no precipitation coming anywhere. Temperatures are going to go up and down a little bit, but even when they go down, they're still going to be above average. There will likely be record warm temperatures in parts of the Intermountain West and high plains this week, due to that west-east flowing jet stream wind, partly due to Chinook winds coming downhill east of the divide, bringing those temperatures up. Changes to colder and unsettled weather early next week are still on the table. We thought that maybe they would arrive by the weekend. The weekend is going to be cooler, but the really noticeable colder temperatures will be early next week. Models in the long term are having a difficult time, and I'm going to show you a really good example of the differences we're seeing with the 10-day forecast, so you can kind of get an idea of the change in the weather pattern that's coming. When there's a major change in the weather pattern coming, the computer modeling really has a difficult time with change, basically. When you get into one pattern, the models tend to go really good, but when that pattern changes, you have a lot of disagreements. Having some great photos continuing to come in with the high clouds that we've had in this pattern. So far this month of November, we've had some beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Here's Hart Mountain. Thanks to Cindy Fulton in Powell, Wyoming, to submitting this photo. Beautiful sunrises and sunsets will be something you'll have all week, so keep that camera handy. Today's satellite photo shows all of the weather up here, basically in the high northern latitudes. Notice that most of the northern areas of the United States are the areas with clouds. The rest of the nation, there's just really not much going on. The jet stream is basically just going like this, pumping in milder air from the Pacific and basically acting like a border, a wall, not allowing that Arctic air to penetrate. And that is something that is going to continue here for another week or so. If you thought November was a warm month in the West, you are right. These are the temperature anomalies for the last 30 days. And you can see this north-south axis of above average temperatures in the middle part of North America, including all of the western United States. But notice we have two areas where it's been colder than normal, a bit colder than normal in the eastern United States and the southeast, as well as parts of the Pacific Northwest. But look at this. We have mentioned the cold air in Alaska. Alaska is going to end up with one of their coldest Novembers in many years. So there are areas of cold. It's just that we don't have access to it yet. So this warmth that we've had here in the month of November so far will likely continue into the first 2 or 3 days of December. Speaking of Alaska, these are current temperatures as of early this morning. These are current temperatures without wind chill. You can even see that even closer to the water, where the temperatures are moderated a little bit, it is still very, very cold. But you can see the interior of Alaska, here's a minus 45, minus 42. So it's not that it's cold. It is cold, just not in the western United States. But eventually, folks, this air's got to cut loose and go south. But it's not going to do it when the jet stream looks like this. Look at how straight of a line this is. I mean, this is remarkably straight. No big dips or troughs. The only trough is here up in New England, where that's not going to be a factor for us. But the trajectory of the air is just completely straight. And so you get downsloping winds. When the winds are like that perpendicular east of the divide, this also is a windy period. And notice the gradient in temperature. The orange, the reds basically represent more of a mild air mass. And then the yellows and the greens and the blues obviously represent the colder temperatures. Notice the big contrast in those colors over a short distance. And that's why the jet stream winds are moving along so quick. This is today, this is tomorrow. Almost identical, isn't it? But there is one little ripple right here that's going to come through tonight and tomorrow morning that will produce a little bit of shower activity in the northern areas. So parts of southern Montana, northern Wyoming, these are very light showers. There'll be a little bit of snow up in the mountains, as you can see here, but that is it. For the next 7 days, that is the only precipitation that's coming. You can see the rest of Colorado and the region here completely dry until probably through Sunday. Here we are for Thursday. Notice there's no change. It's just a straight line. That straight line flow is just going to bottle up the cold, keep us very mild. One reason for that straight line, when we take a look at sea surface temperatures, these are measured sea surface temperatures across the North Pacific. The warmer temperatures are in the brighter colors, and then you can see the normal gradient here between warmer near the equator, colder as you get further north. That looks pretty normal, and the normal gradient that you would see. But notice how west to east the gradient is, and then north to south. So that makes those westerlies really line up with that gradient in sea surface temperature. And we've showed you this before. The colder than average sea surface temperatures up here in the Gulf of Alaska, concentrated right next to warmer than average sea surface temperatures just south of there. And that causes a temperature gradient between warm and cold, and that is just zipping those jet streams along in a west to east fashion. Now eventually this pattern has to buckle. It has to change. Here are the jet stream winds. Here's Alaska right here for point of reference. You can see the strong jet stream winds are right along that temperature gradient. And so this is going to just continue to zip across the area. So if you were taking a flight from Japan to San Francisco, well, you're going to get good gas mileage. You're going to arrive a little bit early, as that west-east flow is quite remarkable. You can thank La Nina for part of that. Here's the latest sea surface temperature anomaly. La Nina remains robust, and there's that contrast that's up there. And here we go. I'll show you this graphic again. This is phase 1 of La Nina. This is the next 6 to 7 days. Very little dips, mild Pacific air penetrating into the United States. But when is it going to change? Well, here we start to see a little bit of a buckling in the jet stream. This is by Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning of the weekend. It's still generally a flow that's west to east, but coming a little bit from the northwest. But this guy right here will separate from this low. This low will actually retrograde back this way. And this will allow the jet stream to buckle and then come south and east once we get past the weekend, opening the door to the colder air there. And there it is. So as we get on into Monday, Tuesday, especially Monday night, Tuesday of next week, the air will turn much colder. There's going to be some snow with this pattern, especially up into the mountains. And then colder air will spill into the western and central areas of the United States, while high pressure builds out here in the eastern Pacific. There is very good model agreement for this to happen late Monday and Tuesday of next week. So our confidence is really high of a colder shot, some snow coming in late Monday and Tuesday of next week. It's a week from today, though, before it comes. So we've got to sit through this very windy, very mild, very dry pattern here for a little bit longer. As we go further out, this is going out to next Thursday. Notice we've got another low up here in the Gulf of Alaska, some really, really cold air here, and we're getting more wavy now. See the waves? See that wave pattern starting to increase a little bit? Not as much in a straight line. So that's going to make the pattern more active. But this is where we start to see the real big difference 10 days out. This is the GFS, or the American model. These are the temperature anomalies for next Thursday. The purple, the green, and the blue showing near or below average temperatures for most of the central and eastern areas of the United States, with the coldest temperatures relative to average right there and up into Canada. That's the GFS model. Here is the Canadian model, which shows a much deeper trough over Hudson Bay, a strong northerly flow in the western and central United States, and these are the temperature anomalies by next Thursday. Look at all that purple. So that is really cold by the middle to the end of next week. However, let's look at the European model. The European model wants to make the flow more west to east again, more wavy. If that happens, temperatures are like this. So you're looking at a 180-degree difference between what we're seeing in the modeling as we get out to 10 days. So temperatures, when you compare them, European model, American model, Canadian model. So there's a really big discrepancy in what happens by the middle to the end of next week. You may ask, well, which model is correct? All three of these solutions are possible. Now, that doesn't help very much, but I will tell you that the US model, the GFS model, is a hybrid between this and this. So likely you want to take the middle solution, which means it is going to be trending colder and staying cold once we get into the early to middle parts of next week. But we're very far out from any details on how much snow and exactly what the temperatures will be, other than to tell you the trend change, which we've been talking about, is still on schedule. But it's not going to feel like it because we got to wait 6 to 7 days before it kicks into gear. And we see something like that across North America as we get into next week. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.